Hello, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. I want to talk about change, maybe in a way you've never thought about before. But before I get into that, I want to invite you to check out the comment in the links below, or the link in the comments below, to my book called You Are Made to Heal Spiritually, Emotionally, Mentally, and Physically. I was stuck for 30 plus years. Just doing the same thing day in and day out, not thinking there was a better way. I just thought that was the luck of the draw. That's what I was stuck with. And my lot in life was depression and suicidal thoughts and anger and having resentment and being a victim. I'm this way because of this. This was told to me growing up, so I'm this way and I'm justified. I'm justified to be angry at the world. And it was 2015 when I had my last suicidal thought, and it scared me to death. It did. And I called on Christ and I prayed, and I have been on this beautiful journey from that moment on. I have not had suicidal thoughts or depression. God has put me on this beautiful path of healing spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And that's what I share in my book. So check that out. It was written for all teens and adults alike, because I suffered with depression in my teen years and throughout most of my adult years. It was my late 30s when I had my last suicidal thought. So check that out and share it with others. I don't have answers to everything, but you know what? It is a good start. It's helped me on my healing path so much. So I want to talk about change, because there has been a lot of changes within me in the last 10 plus years. But before the 10 plus years, when I would hear change, you hear change, like make a change, like most people. I want you to think about something you want to change about yourself physically. What is it you don't like about yourself? Do you not like that you have straight hair? Or do you not like that you have curly hair and wished you had straight? Do you not like how big of a bust you have if you're a woman? Or maybe you don't have enough of a bust and you want to have a breast augmentation. Do you think you're too thin? Do you think you're too fat? Whatever that is, against society's whatever. Is your nose too big? Is your nose too small? Is your, do your ears poke out? What is it that you want? Are your lips not, do you not have plump enough lips? Or maybe you just don't have that round bottom you want? Or the list goes on and on and on, right? Society has trained, I hate to say it, but society has trained young women especially, but everybody, to hate their body. They have trained us to hate what we to pick apart what we don't like about ourselves. And hey, look, we got the solution. You don't like your chest size? Get a breast augmentation. Or hey, do this, do that, and oh, take this pill and you'll slim right down, or whatever, right? So society change for the world is change here on the whole outside. Like what can we do to change here? Oh, I can easily go buy a new wardrobe, change up the wardrobe, that would change up my style. There, I've changed. But that is not what true change is. True change, when you hear change, I don't want you to think, oh, I just need to get my nails done and I'll feel pretty. I need to get my hair done and then I'll feel amazing. No, that is just very superficial. Real change comes from within. What change do you really want? Is it, if you dig deep, it's not the small breasts that you have, or the maybe you have a freckle in some weird spot. It's not that is bothering you to the core. To the core, maybe it is trapped emotions. Maybe someone made fun of you for something. Maybe someone said something and then you're just super insecure about it. You weren't insecure about it before, but now somebody said something and mentioned it and now you're insecure. So it's so important to, like, okay, what does it really stem from? It's not the physical aspect, really. How do you feel spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically? How do you feel? What changes? And I'm guaranteeing you, everybody needs changes in all those areas. I don't care how good of a person you think you are, how religious you think you are, or how positive thinking you are, or how healthy you are at eating with your diet. We all have leaps and bounds to improve upon our spiritual health, our mental health, our emotional health, and our physical health. We all have changes to make. So changes are important to realize. To make a change within ourselves, we have that power. We have the power to change. It's by our daily decisions that we do, our choices that we make. Are we choosing to connect with God? You're not feeling close to God. It's not God's fault that you don't feel connected to him, right? His love is there. It's always ever ending, never ending, and present for us. It's constant, and it's infinite, and it's there. And his love isn't, he doesn't love one person more than he loves another. His love for each of his creations is equal, and it's there. So what is it we are doing or not doing that's taking us closer or away from him? And it's important to recognize that we have the power to make those changes. The changes that we make from within, the changes when we're changing our heart and when we're changing our mind and we're bringing things together and we're able to really make those changes. That is when we're doing it from within, it just automatically comes from without. The world outside ourselves will change. It's not an overnight process. It's not going to take 3 years. Honestly, my marriage is so much different than it was 10 plus years ago. I didn't know that my marriage would have survived. If I would have kept going in my negative thinking, and my husband, like, I don't think our marriage, or if we were, it wouldn't be happily married. It would have been just, we're surviving. But because I chose to make changes within me, I stopped looking and blaming and going, it's because of them or this or the, no, I took full accountability where I was at. And when I started making changes and working on myself, not working on changing other people, because that is God's job. Our job is to change ourselves. And and changing ourselves means from the inside out. It doesn't mean, oh, go slap on some nails, or go buy you a new outfit, or hey, go get that thing that you've always been wanting. Whatever tangible physical thing that is not going to fulfill you. That is not going to change you. The change has to happen in your heart and in your mind. Your heart and your mind. When we can soften our hearts, when we can truly learn how to love ourselves, so we can love God, so we can love others. Loving God. When you love God truly, you are loving yourself, who you are a creation of his. And so it's when we learn to love God, then we learn to love ourselves, and then we learn to love others, and we learn to soften our hearts. We learn to not be so judgmental. We learn to be more kind with ourselves. We learn to have this compassion, not only for ourselves, but others as well. And we learn to deal with our emotions, right? So another form that we can change is looking at those emotions that rule our day. What is it we like? What do we not like? What can we incorporate more in our life? Positive thinking. Okay, I'm going to commit today to not making one complaint. If you find that you are a complainer, I was a big time complainer. I didn't. I always started the day off complaining, and it just made the domino trickle effect throughout the rest of the day, and it makes a difference where we are at with our mindset. And so our emotions, we get to choose what we are going to tolerate or not tolerate, and we need to feel every emotion. It's not to suppress and don't feel those, but recognize those emotions. Where is it coming? Is it yours? Is it someone else's? Is it too heavy? What are you doing to help relieve these emotions? Because there are tools and techniques galore to help us get through these emotions. And so what are we choosing to do with that? Mentally, what are we choosing to put in? What are we learning? What are we thinking about ourselves? What are we thinking towards other people outside ourselves? What are we, are we being judgmental, or are we being, are we, being judgmental rather than judging a situation? Because there's a difference, right? Not judging out of negativity, right? But we have to make judgment. Everybody has to make judgment. It's not a good idea to pull out of your driveway if you live on a busy street and cars are going back and forth crazy. Like, it's not a good idea to just go out when you want, right? Using good judgment is like, yeah, I gotta wait here for a minute until it's clear. So it's important to use good judgment with people and characters, because who we hang out with, wherever we spend our time with is very important to our growth. So it is important to use good judgment, but not to be the judge, not to be the judger. So where are we at that way? Are we being understanding? Are we coming off with compassion? Are we trying to better our thoughts, clean it up here towards ourselves and everyone else? Physically, what are we choosing? What are we choosing to put in our mouths? Because each input, I don't care if it's reading, listening to music, the foods we eat, all of our input matters. And whatever our input is, whatever we are putting in, is what we give out. It's what comes out. So if you are dealing with a lot of depression, anxiety, anger, bitterness, and all these negative emotions that are just too much to bear, I guarantee you the foods that we eat will affect those kind of emotions. And so the input, the foods that we eat truly affect the way that we feel. It's been scientifically proven. My most favorite book that I like to recommend others, and I didn't even read it until about 8 years ago. It was written in 86, I believe, 1986, by Barbara Stitt. It's called Food and Behavior, A Natural Connection. The best book on the importance of having a healthy input. Food choices, what we choose to put in our mouth matters, because it affects our actions. It affects what we're thinking, what's going on in here. So if you want a clarity of mind, if you're outputting every day low energy, brain fog, aches and pains, not feeling good, start looking at what the input is. What is the input? What's going on? And then what is it we can do to clean that up and to make better choices doing that? So change. We all have changes to make. I have a lot of more changes. I will constantly have changes to be making all the time. But let's focus on changes that are going to affect us internally. The changes that we can do that will affect us internally, and it will outwardly flow out, right? The energy that we put into things makes a difference. The choices that we make, each choice we make has an energy tied, a vibration tied to it. What kind of energy is tied to the input that we are putting in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies, to nourish our bodies? It's so important to address that. Let's focus on the changes that we can make. The power of one when we change. And let me tell you how incredible the power of change is when I focused on me, when I stopped trying to change my husband, because I tried to do that for almost 20 years. I was trying to fix him. Well, he doesn't think like me, or he doesn't, and so I was out to change him, change all my kids, fix them. It's all them. It's not me, right? And so when God taught me that, oh, sweetheart, you're not happy, and you're not happy. And I had to ask him what that looked like. How do I be happy? How do I get out of this miserable state of being? And the number one thing was take accountability and stop trying to change other people. That's my job. Stop changing them. But hey, the one you can change is yourself. And it was like, yes, I can change myself. What is my relationship with God? Do I feel like I have a real relationship with God? No, not at the time. I didn't have a meaningful relationship. It was just more of out of duty, out of, not that I didn't believe in God. It was just a superficial relationship, and it was all on me. And so I come to learn how to rely on Him. God is my strength. Christ is my strength. When we can really learn how to bring them in, because they already are in us, when we learn how to just open that line of communication and do that, it helps that spiritual growth. So when we learn that we can change from within. So when I started working on myself, I did. And it wasn't 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, but over 3 years, right? I was a toxic person. My husband would have never gone to me for advice ever. But 3.5 years later, into me working on me changing me, he recognized that I had made some changes. He recognized I learned how to hold my tongue. Not to say that I'm perfect at it all the time still, because I'm still learning, but he saw that I was really trying. And he came to me one day and said, I want to be where you're at. How do I get there? Will you help me get there? And he's like, I would have never thought I was going to go to you to ask for advice, because you were pretty angry and naggy and not a happy person. But he's like, you have confidence, you love yourself, and you have a relationship with God, and you are doing things in your life, and I'm seeing this unfold, and changes are coming about, and I want that for myself. Can you help me get there? And here's the deal. You can't do it for somebody. You cannot. It's not our job to change, but you can be the example and just still love others around you. Be that example and make those changes necessary to for you, for your growth. We only get to take what we learn in this life, and if we're not willing to learn how to become more patient, learn how to love others more unconditionally, and learn how to serve others, and learn how to live your purpose and live your mission, if we are not going to learn how to do that, then we've got to eventually learn it at some point. And it's easier to learn in this human body here, as painful as some of those growing pains are. It's easier to do it when we have this physical body rather than after the fact. So choose to make changes within today. Don't change your outer world on you or with others outside yourself, but work on changing your mind and your heart. Work on softening that heart. Work on being open-minded. Work on, like, you know what? I thought that was crazy that that person would do something like that. Why are they doing that the way they are? And you know what? I want to have an open mind. Like, I'm going to go talk to this person and see why it is they do what they do, and maybe it's not so weird after all. We need to connect, have that connection with each other, because we have a lot to teach one another. Everybody has their gifts and talents, and so it's important to connect. And that's another way we can make changes, is to be more connected and integrate ourselves and become more engaged. So that's all I wanted to talk about, was change, because change, I wasn't all about change. I wasn't comfortable. I was stagnant. I wasn't happy, but I just stayed there. And it was the norm, right? I didn't know any better. And so when I learned the tools and techniques, I've been able to, learn a bunch of stuff, learn so much that God is still teaching me daily. And so it's so important that we allow ourselves to change from within, change within, inside. Change comes from inside without, not from the outside in. You can spend all the money you want on pills and medical surgeries and things to make yourself look and feel better, but that is not going to do the trick. It never will. It has to be true, genuine, authentic change comes, and it starts with the heart and the mind. Get it centered, Christ centered, God centered, and go from within. What speaks truth to you? What foods are you going to gravitate to? When we make changes within ourselves, it happens on a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level. When we change our mental thinking about towards ourselves, and when we work on our emotional state of being, it is going to have an effect on the foods that we choose, because we are going to put that connection going, oh yeah, like those foods don't help my anger, those foods aren't helping my depression, and you will have this link, and your body will communicate with you. It's called God and Christ within. It just happens. And so it's important to be in tune and to make those changes. So God bless. And until next time, I'll be talking to you later. Oh, please like and subscribe to this channel and share it with others too. So thank you. God bless.